Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Bird here. Today, I'm at the Columbia, Maryland Joann Fabrics. This is a location that was completely renovated and reopened in 2019. At that time, it was considered to be the new store model. This was supposed to be the future of Joann stores. No one expected that just a few years later, all 800 locations across the country would be closing for good. But here we are. I came in today to see how the liquidation sales are progressing. Since the sale to GA Group was finalized, we've been seeing much lower discounts than what Joann shoppers are used to. But keep in mind, this is no longer the Joann as we knew it and loved. The brand itself is gone, and now everything is in the hands of liquidators whose job is to squeeze every last dollar out of the remaining inventory. As you can see, this is a very large store, one of the biggest Joann locations in the area. Right away, I noticed they're still hiring staff, and I'll talk more about that later in the video. But first, let's focus on prices because that's what we're all here for. Here's a breakdown of the current fabric discounts I found throughout the store, and you'll see them throughout the video. Silky solids are 30% off. Later on, you will see that there's a pretty big selection of cotton fabric, and the cotton fabric is only 20% off, which honestly is really shocking for a liquidation sale. Specialty fabrics, about 30% off. Apparel fabrics, I saw that mostly they were 40% off. Last chance fabric, 60% off. Denim, only 20% off. Fleece fabric, which was way too much of it, 50% off, and then interfacing only 20% off. As I walk through the store, I'll highlight discounts so you can decide for yourself whether it's worth making the trip. There is still a 2-yard minimum cut that is required for all fabrics, and as I walked through, I noticed a lot of new bolts still in plastic. So the website did mention new merchandise arriving, and it looks like they're continuing to bring in stock. Sometimes multiple bolts of not only the same fabric, but also the same color. I mentioned earlier that the denim fabric as well as the cotton fabric was only 20% off, which makes no sense at all. Clearly, people are still buying it, which means the liquidators really have no reason to drop the price anytime soon. This is a classic liquidation strategy. They start with very small discounts to see what sells. If inventory moves at these prices, they won't rush to drop them further. The goal is to get as much money back as possible to pay off creditors. So while many of us are used to very deep discounts when a store closes, that's not what's happening here, at least not yet. Here are my thoughts on whether it's time to make the trip in. If there's a specific type of fabric you need, you might want to go ahead and grab it now. But if you're just looking for deals, I'd say wait a little longer. Personally, I did see a few fabrics I liked, but at these prices, I'm holding off, especially since I don't have a specific project in mind. Liquidators don't start with massive markdowns. Instead, they gradually lower prices based on sales volume. The goal is to sell as much inventory as possible at the highest price people are willing to pay. Typically, the process will follow a pattern. I've seen this play out before, but this time around, the game is quite different. When the Joann stores in Cockeysville and Owings Mills closed because they lost their lease, the liquidation started at around 30% for all fabric in the entire store. The following week, it increased to 40% off everything. Then the next week, it went up to 50% off, and that pattern continued until the very end when you could get fabric at 70 to 80% off. They also marked down all of their patterns to 99 cents, including Vogue patterns. That happened, I would say it was the last 3 to 4 days before they closed their doors. Again, a totally different liquidator. That's why I'm not rushing to buy anything right now. At this point, the prices aren't great compared to what Joann's regular sales used to be. But if the pattern holds, better discounts really should be coming soon. All right, let's continue to walk through so I can give you a general sense of how things are looking in case there are particular fabrics that are of interest to you. Actually, if there is something that is of interest to you, please go ahead and drop a comment below. And the next time that I'm in the Joann's, I'll make sure to, or at least I'll try to check it out. This really is a massive store, and it truly is a shame that not only this store, but all of the stores are going out of business. As we walk through, you will see that the Notions area is pretty darn bare. I think this was the area that cleared out very early after the stores announced their closing. Let's continue to walk through. Look at how huge this store is. Definitely there are aisles that are looking pretty bare, but I wanted to take you down to the home decor and the yarn sections. If you're shopping for home decor fabrics, this store has a decent selection. I didn't see it selling out as quickly as the other type of fabrics like garment fabric, so to speak. It's going for roughly 40% off, and there is a 3-yard minimum for decor fabrics. Again, decor fabrics, not your regular fabric. Let's head back to the yarn section. Surprisingly, there's still a good selection available, but it's only 25% off. Probably an okay deal, but not a must-buy price just yet. Let's take a look at the thread. Thread section is completely bare. It was 40% off. So if you are looking for thread, zippers, bias tape, they are pretty much wiped out. If you need these items, don't even bother making the trip because they're pretty much gone. This store used to have a Viking sewing center, but that wrapped up a few weeks ago. They do have a number of beginner-level sewing machines for sale. However, I don't think these machines are priced low enough for a liquidation. Most of these are basic models, and the prices feel more like a standard Joann sale than a true liquidation deal. If you're looking for a sewing machine, this is another section to watch, but I wouldn't rush out. Fabric, interfacing, and other sewing related items, as well as sewing machines, took up maybe 50% of the floor space here in this local Joann's. Again, I'm in Columbia, Maryland. And then the rest of the space, this is what you saw. Far too many aisles were filled with seasonal items as well as holiday items. Before heading into the store, I checked Joann's website and app to see what changes have been made since the liquidation began. The first major change is the banner color. It's shifted from the cheerful Joann green that we're accustomed to this bold red. It now reads going out of business, selling to the bare walls, up to 50% off everything. There's also a very clear warning about fake Joann websites. Also, as of March 5th, online orders were completely disabled, meaning if you see a website claiming to sell Joann products online, it's fake. If you want to buy anything, you have to shop in the store. The banner also emphasized that new merchandise is arriving daily. As I mentioned earlier, Joann is still advertising for staff on the website. If you're interested, go ahead and hit the search jobs, and you can actually narrow it down based on your location. I mostly saw seasonal or part-time positions, and I understand that Joann team members will continue to get 30% off their purchases. Final thoughts. If you're looking for something specific, you may want to pick it up now, but if you're looking for deeper discounts, you may want to wait a little bit longer. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.